Jared Gingras. I'm the Managing Director of Real Story Group, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today. It's great to see so many of you on the line as always. We really appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedules to spend a half hour with us. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different than we usually do in our webinar series. So usually we have a slide deck prepared for you where we'll be talking about various trends in the marketplace or the strengths and weaknesses of different vendors. But today we're going to give you a little bit of a peek behind the scenes to give you a sense of what it's actually like to be a Real Story Group subscriber. You know, we get a lot of questions from people all the time around, you know, what do we get with a Real Story Group subscription? And today we're gonna show you. So I'm sure many of you have had a chance to download our research samples, and if you haven't, I definitely encourage you to do so, because that'll give you a flavor of our writing. You'll see that the writing is what we consider to be the hardest hitting analysis in the analyst space, and I think you'll find that. But in addition to that analysis, you get some other benefits with a Real Story Group subscription, and that's really what we're gonna take you through today and give you a sense of what it's like to be a Real Story Group subscriber. All right, so what you're looking at on my screen right now is the Real Story Group public website page, and if you click on this link up here, this is how you get to your Real Story Group subscriber dashboard. And for those of you who are new to Real Story Group, our mission as an organization is to help organizations make better technology decisions. And we do that in a multitude of ways. But if you're going to kind of put it into two big categories, one, we help people make really smart decisions when it comes to picking the right technology vendor for what it is you're trying to do. And what I'll show you with regards to that scenario is we have a number of vendor evaluations that help you make the right decision when it comes to which vendor is best for you. The other thing that we do as an organization is we help organizations understand how effective they are with the technology that they already have. And I will give you a little bit of a glimpse into how we do that through what we call our Real Score benchmarking capabilities. So if we look on this page, this is an example of a subscriber who has access to all 7 of the marketplaces that we cover. So 7 different areas of vendor evaluations and 7 different areas of Real Score benchmarking. In addition, if I scroll down on this page, you'll see all the upcoming webinars, both public webinars and the private webinars that we offer to just our subscribers. You also see that I have the ability to give access to some of my colleagues. So we have organizations with sometimes up to 5 colleagues who get access to our research, and in some cases, hundreds of users across the organization. I can also, from this dashboard, schedule an advisory session. So this is available to our subscribers at our Plus level, where not only do you get access to the research that we produce, the tools which I'll show you today, you can also get access to the analysts who wrote the reports themselves. So if you have a specific question around a specific vendor that you want to talk through with an analyst, you're more than welcome to schedule a call to do that. Or if you want to do something like validate your shortlist, we'll talk you through which vendors we think belong on that shortlist and which ones we think might be missing and which vendors we think you might be wasting your time with. All these things and a whole slew of other topics we can cover in an advisory session. And then as I scroll down, you can get access to the entire research library and see all the updates that are being produced on a rolling basis. So, as I mentioned, today I want to take you through a couple different things here. So before I jump into the vendor evaluations, I want to call your attention to these reference models on our left side. Some of you might be familiar with our vendor map, which shows the areas that we focus on, you know, all the different 7 marketplaces and the different vendors that are part of those marketplaces. We also have some other reference models, which we work very closely with a number of our clients on. And we have a digital workplace reference model and a digital marketing reference model. So as you might imagine, when we look at technology such as these 7 disparate or seemingly disparate technology marketplaces, many organizations are trying to figure out how do these different pieces fit together. And that's what we try to educate our clients on here with our digital workplace and digital marketing reference models. And I'll just give you a sense of what you can expect with an advisory paper like this. But I'll just quickly scroll through here, but we give a lot of background information on why it is we're creating these different models, and then we give you different ways to slice and dice these different technology offerings and different ways that we think that you should be thinking about fitting them together. And what's very common with our research is we tend to bring everything back to a very customer-centric model. And here's our digital marketing reference model, and some of you may have seen this in a variety of other different forms, but this is just an example of how we try to give you the information that you need to make decisions, not only within a particular marketplace, but oftentimes across different marketplaces. So that's there for your for you to consume as needed. So with that said, let's jump into some of the core product offerings here. So let's assume that you are most interested in web content and experience management. If you subscribe to the web content and experience management research area, you can come to this landing page and see a couple different views of the marketplace. We always start out with our most current market analysis. So it's really a high level executive overview, if you will, all the latest trends, all the latest high level rankings and scenario based analysis of these different vendors in the marketplace. We always have a quick and easy way for you to get to our logo landscapes, which is basically how we tier the different vendors in the marketplace, and as well as a quick link to get to the latest webinars and advisory papers that are related to web content and experience management, so that you and your teams are able to stay up with all the latest trends that we're seeing from our clients in our research base. As you scroll down this page, you can access our web content management and all of our research in a variety of different ways. So what we tried to do here is respond to the needs of our subscriber base, in that we found that they really have a couple different main goals. Some of our subscribers already know what vendors they want to compare. And then some clients say, I don't know which vendors I want to compare. I want to get to the right shortlist. So for those of you who know what vendors you want to compare, we use our tool called the real-time vendor comparison tool. So this is a scenario that definitely relates to those organizations among you that have an incumbent vendor, and you want to say, okay, how does that incumbent vendor stack up against some other tools out there? Maybe you're looking at Adobe or Sitecore or let's pick Episerver. From there, I can say, let's see how these vendors stack up head to head. So here I'm able to say, okay, here's my core use case scenarios down my left side, and I have my core the four vendors that I picked across the top. I can choose to remove this vendor. I can narrow it down even further and get it down to just 2, for example, and say I want to compare these 2 vendors head to head and see how they stack up. From there, I can do a variety of different things. I can download a custom report that only includes these 2 vendors. I could download a full evaluation report. In addition, I can save and share these comparisons with my colleagues. I can export my results and all the ratings to Excel so I can do some analysis of my own. I can also save these so I can come back to this search, or I can email these results to a colleague who might be working on a project with me. You can also view some of the strengths and weaknesses of these different tools. You can say, I want a real high-level view of what these vendors have to offer with regards to their core strengths and their core weaknesses. So you can get a quick glimpse of why these vendors get the ratings they do. And then, of course, behind each of these is a full evaluation chapter. A really deep dive evaluation behind all of our ratings. And again, if you haven't had a chance to do this on your own, I encourage you to download samples from our site of different vendors that you can get a sense for what that analysis really looks like. But this deep dive analysis behind each of these vendors. So that's our real-time vendor comparison tool. So if you know what vendors it is that you're looking to compare, that's the way that you should start. But we know a lot of you don't know which vendors that you would like to compare. So for you, we have the Real Quadrant Shortlist Generator. So we always beat up on our analyst brethren for taking a single snapshot view of the marketplace with a real static quadrant or a static other way of plotting vendors on some sort of graphic. And what we always say to that is, we think you're doing yourselves a disservice when you take that static view of the marketplace. Rather, we think you should come up with a way to visualize the marketplace that is truly custom to what it is you are trying to do. So what we've created here is a wizard interface of sorts to learn a little bit more about you and what it is you're trying to do, so that we can then match up our ratings to your specific needs. So the first step in the Real Quadrant Shortlist Generator, I'll just take you through this quickly. You can certainly try it out for free on the realstorygroup.com website. You certainly won't see the full results that I'll show you in a few moments, but you can try it out and get a flavor for what this tool offers. But as a first step, we ask you some kind of fundamental criteria, if you will. And we ask you things like, do you care what technology this solution is built on? Are you a .NET shop? Are you a Java shop? Are you an open source shop? And you can narrow it down based on those preferences. Let's assume that you don't care. Do you care if it's purchased via a commercial license or an open source model? Do you care if it is installed on premise or in the cloud? And do you care if this software solution has a particular geographic footprint or focus? And you can narrow it down, but for the sake of this demo, let's assume that you don't care. Next, we asked you to look at the use case scenarios. Now I'm looking at web content management here, and these are our 10 canonical use case scenarios that we evaluate all of our web content management vendors against. And we have some simpler scenarios and some more complex scenarios. And what this allows you to do is to say, what are we trying to do with this software? And we have some basic explanations behind each of these, but let's assume you're trying to build a basic digital marketing site, as well as do some campaigns and microsites with your web content management tool. Next, you can go to a page where we allow you to give some weightings to these. So let's assume you have equal weightings for both of these scenarios, and you can also weight how important each of these 10 strategic considerations are. And what we mean by considerations are the things related to the vendor, the product, and the ecosystem around the technology that might be really important to you. So we default to 10% each, but you can certainly skew any of these different weightings to being a little bit more important or less important to your organization. And then finally, we can get you to a shortlist. And your shortlist is meant to really just provide a visual view of the marketplace, again, against your unique needs. So it's all of that criteria, all of those weightings that we just went through, balanced up against the ratings that we have given these vendors. So again, I just picked some very basic scenarios, and the nice part about this Real Quadrant tool is that everyone's quadrant is going to be different, because for enterprise A among you who prioritizes certain scenarios, you're going to get a very different Real Quadrant than enterprise B, who prioritizes other scenarios. But the key here is that this is a unique view to you, and from here you can do a variety of different things. You can start to hone in on the vendors in your upper right of your quadrant. You can say, well, why did this vendor get this score? I can click on the vendor. I can see the score of and based on the weightings that I have. I can even scroll down and start to see, okay, how did Real Story Group give it a score versus those weightings, and why did it get those total weightings? And then I can start to remove these vendors from my results, or I can download the vendor evaluation to see the real core analysis behind each of these. From here, I can also look at product strengths and weaknesses of these vendors. I can save this. I can generate a full report. I can generate a report just with a subset of these vendors so that I'm only reading and doing my due diligence behind just the vendors that are most important to me. It's a real powerful way for you to quickly get to that research that is most important to you. You know, we used to really tout the fact that when you printed out our research that it would be some 500 to 800 pages per report, and that used to be a big selling point of ours when we actually sold these as in book form. But over the years, what we've heard from our existing clients is people just want to get the right answers to their questions as quickly as possible, and that's what those tools, the real-time vendor comparison tool and the real Quadrant shortlist generator, aim to do. Get you that information as quickly as possible so that you can do your due diligence on just the vendors that you need to and stop wasting your time with vendors that are fundamentally a wrong fit. Okay, so that's what we have with regards to tools. But if I go back to my web content management page and I scroll down, I can always come here and see the breakdown by tier, and I can get to an individual chapter really easily. I can even scroll down this page and see all of the web content management, special advisory papers, special webinars, special report releases that we are constantly publishing. Everything you need is right within this dashboard page. Okay, all right, so next let's go back to our dashboard page, and let's assume now that your organization already has a vendor in place that you're happy with, or if you're not happy with, you're stuck with for a while, and you want to see how it is your organization stacks up against a model of sorts, and how it stacks up against your peers in your industry or across industry. And to do that, we have developed a tool called the RealScore effectiveness model benchmarking tool. So let's pick a technology here. For the sake of this demo, let's look at digital and media asset management. I've already saved an assessment here, so for the sake of time, it'll help us go a little bit faster if I use one that I've already filled out. But fundamentally, what we're trying to do here is allow you to do a self-assessment. And I will say again, while we're showing the logged in version of my Real Story Group subscriber experience, you can certainly try and do this and fill out this assessment on your own without in the free model on the realstorygroup.com site. You can go through and actually get a real score for free, and that'll allow you to do an assessment against the model. But what it won't give you is what we consider to be really the secret sauce of this application, and that is the ability to do some really powerful benchmarking versus your industry peers and your cross-industry peers, which I'll show you in just a few moments. So what we do here is, as I mentioned, we're really putting a stake in the ground for your organization. And for the digital and media asset management RealScore model, we're asking you to do this, to put this stake in the ground with regards to people, with regards to information, systems, and processes. So four main dimensions, and within each dimensions, we ask you to give yourself a rating from 1 to 5 on a variety of different metrics. Now, these metrics include a variety of different things like technical expertise, business expertise, alignment, a whole slew of different things. And there's different metrics within each of these dimensions. But really, what it is you're trying to do here is again, where are you today? Where would you give yourself with regards to your overall effectiveness? So once you fill this out for all 4 of these dimensions, we then get you to the results page. Now here's where you'll see that secret sauce that we mentioned. So first we give you a score. This is your real score, which is really a percentage of what you scored yourself versus the total available. But if we look at your raw score, or my raw score in this case, of 39 of 75, I can then start to say, not only how did I score against the model, how did I score against my industry peers and my cross-industry peers? So what we are showing here is when I first filled this out, I self-identified as being part of the professional services industry, but I can easily switch this industry to any one of these other industries. From there, I can say, okay, how did my raw score compare against my peers in my industry? So my score of 39 in this case was a little bit behind my industry peers of the average of 44.9. But it was actually ahead of everyone who filled out this model, regardless of which industry they were in. From there, I can break it down by dimension. So this view allows me to kind of get into the details a bit and say, okay, well, I can see my overall score, but how do my my system score compare? Or how does my information or people or process score? And then as I scroll down, I can even break it down further. I can get right down to the individual metric level, the question level, if you will, to see, okay, where am I ahead of the game and where might I be behind the game? And what we found our clients to be doing is using this model in a whole slew of different ways. But if there's one key way that we think that there's a lot of value to be gained here is it's really starting conversations within different organizations. It's starting conversations around where, not only where you are today, but where it is you want to go in the future. And we always say getting to level 5 is not necessarily the ideal, but you need to have these conversations about what is the ideal state for you in your organization. And so organizations are using our real score effectiveness model to put some roadmaps into place to prioritize different areas of focus in the short, medium, and long term. It's a really powerful way of, again, starting those conversations within organizations and really getting things out onto the table of what is reality and oftentimes what is perceived reality. So we have some clients who have their IT teams fill it out and their business teams and marketing side fill it out and compare their answers. We have management fill it out, and then we have staff members fill it out to see how they view their current situation. It's a really powerful way to again get these conversations started. And not only do you start these conversations, you put a stake in the ground. So where you have a good sense of where you are today. So as you complete your future initiatives, whether it's bringing in new technology or changing processes or hiring new people or switching things up when it comes to how you structure your content and apply metadata and whatnot, you are then to be able to see how did we move the needle over time. So what we've actually done within this tool is you can save your results right here, so that when you do another assessment, you know, a quarter from now, a half from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, you can see how you move the needle. You can also export your results right to PowerPoint. This is a really popular way our clients use this model, where you can populate this PowerPoint presentation with some background on the model and the score, and what it does is it pumps your results right into here, so that this aims to really, again, help start those conversations, but it also records your stake that you put in the ground over time, right? So you can, like I mentioned, do this in the beginning of the year, do it at the end of the year, and compare your results and see how you truly move the needle over that time. It's a real powerful way to assess your growth and when it comes to your effectiveness. And the important thing to remember here is we're not just looking at technology here. Of course, technology is an important piece of this when we look at the systems piece of the puzzle, but we're looking at the other dimensions and more, so that we can really take a look at your situation in a holistic way. It's the people, it's the information, it's the processes, and I think that's really important to assess progress, to assess effectiveness on an overall level. So pretty powerful thing to do if you want to put I think for anyone, you know, whether you're looking at bringing in new technology, whether you've had technology for a long time, it never hurts to put a stake in the ground and to see how you're doing against the model, but also to see how you're doing against your peers in your industry and across industry. So that's really what you get as a Real Story Group subscriber. You get quite a trove of information when it comes to your vendor evaluations and the tools. You get the Real Quadrant tool, the real-time vendor comparison tool, and then if you subscribe to Real Score benchmarking, you can benchmark yourself in any of the areas that we cover. Also, you get, as a subscriber, I always like to call this out, you get to see everything that we publish, and we publish a lot. You know, we do webinars, we do research, we do we do advisory papers, and you can filter this entire library down by content type. You can see just my subscriptions. You can see everything that we're publishing. It's a real powerful way to see the flow of content that's coming from our analyst team, and so that you are certain that you have the latest and greatest information with regards to the industry and the benchmarking criteria that we're constantly looking to tweak and modify as we learn more. So with that said, that concludes our tour of our subscriber experience for today. But I did want to just call out a couple more things. If you know, I referred to this during the demo, but even as a logged out non-subscriber, you can try these tools that I mentioned today. Go to the tools page, try out the Real Quadrant Shortlist generator, try out the comparison tool, try out the effectiveness model. You can try out the research by downloading a free chapter. Download a chapter to all of the different research streams that we cover. You know, you'll get a real flavor for this analysis that we think is the most hardest hitting in the business, and you'll get a full chapter there, so you'll get a real sense of what's going on. And if any of you are interested in becoming subscribers, certainly go to our Buy Now page. We made a decision long ago to make our pricing extremely transparent, because we beat up on software vendors who don't make their pricing very transparent and give different pricings to different organizations. We don't do that, and so you can see what it costs to get the vendor evaluations. This includes the Real Quadrant Shortlist Builder and the real-time vendor comparison tool that I showed you. You can select how many different streams or marketplaces that you're interested in. You could choose to do just the Real Score benchmarking tool that I showed you, to do the industry benchmarking versus the model and versus your peers. Or, as many of our clients do, you could get access to both of them. You can get all the research, all the benchmarking with regards to one marketplace, or all the digital marketing marketplaces, or all the digital workplace marketplaces, or, as many organizations do, all of the different marketplaces that we cover. And then you just need to choose how many employees you need access. You know, whether it's just a small team or a much larger group across your organization. And then finally, you get to choose which tier of subscription that you're most interested in. And really, the difference between these two tiers here is that with the standard subscription, you would get just access to the research and tools in this case, and no advisory time. With the Plus subscription, you'd get access to the 4 hours of phone calls with the analyst that wrote the report. So it's a fallback option that you have to always be certain that what you're reading is most germane to your particular situation, as you can ask some very custom questions that are most relevant to you. So that is what we have to offer. And if anyone ever has any questions, you know, please feel free to reach out to either myself or my colleagues. My colleagues Scott and Rebecca are always there to man the chat window on the page. You can easily get a question answered from them, or you can just email us. Our contact info is all on the website, all on the About page. Feel free to contact us at any time. We'd be glad to answer your questions. So with that, I'll let you all get back to your day. Thank you so much again for joining us for this special webinar. I hope to talk to you all soon, and please don't be shy about reaching out with any questions that you might have. We'll be glad to answer those questions and start a dialogue with you. Thank you all, and have a great day.